continent. On one side there is Europe, and on the other side there is Asia.
This bridge stands on two continents at once. Even an earthquake will not bring it down. How do you actually build a bridge that connects two continents and trust it to survive one of the most active fault lines on Earth?
Connecting two continents is really just half the challenge, and that the other half is making sure a bridge this long can actually move with an earthquake.
Before it can hold up a deck this long, this cable starts as individual strands of steel wound together one at a time. Every component here has to reach the strait before any of it can start connecting two continents. This cable has to be strong enough to hold up one of the longest spans ever attempted and flexible enough to move with the ground beneath it. Before a single cable is approved, it has to prove it can hold far more than it will ever actually need to.
Alongside the steel, this concrete is being mixed specifically to absorb seismic movement rather than simply resist it.
Every single batch has to survive movement, and most concrete never actually has to consider in ordinary applications. Each pylon section here will eventually anchor one entire side of this bridge to solid ground below. Before anything is built, they have to know exactly how this exact stretch of coastline behaves during an earthquake. Each spool here will eventually help hold up an entire section of deck, suspended high above open water. From both coastlines at once, the material for this bridge starts converging on the exact same strait below. The material has finally arrived, and now it has to become a bridge, strong enough to connect two continents and flexible.
Before anything is built, they already know exactly where each tower needs to stand, one on each continent.
On the European side, the very first foundation now begins taking shape. At the exact same time, on the other side of the strait, the same process begins all over again. Each foundation has to anchor its tower against forces most structures never actually have to consider. Thousands of tons of concrete were poured purely to hold one tower steady against everything this strait can throw at it. The first tower that will help hold this bridge up now begins standing up itself. Every bolt here has to hold up more than steel and concrete, since it has to hold up an idea connecting two continents.
Two towers on two continents are growing at almost exactly the same pace as one another.
Every tower now stands exactly as tall as the math required, one on each side of the water separating them. From up here, the actual cable that will suspend the entire deck begins its journey across open water. This is the very first thread connecting two towers that used to have nothing between them but open water.
One strand becomes dozens, and dozens become a single cable strong enough to hold real weight across the entire span. Before anything else is suspended from it, and this cable has to prove it can carry weight it has not even met yet.
For the first time, you can see the actual shape of what is about to hold an entire deck between two continents. Now the actual road that will one day carry cars between two continents begins its own journey into position. This is the very first piece of solid road this bridge will ever have, and it is hanging above open water. It holds exactly where the engineers said it would hold from the very beginning. Section by section, an entire roadway begins forming where there used to be nothing but open strait below. For the first time, you can see exactly what this bridge is going to look like, suspended between two continents.
These joints exist for one specific reason, which is letting the bridge move slightly instead of fighting an earthquake head-on.
Even fully assembled, this joint has to prove it can actually do the one thing it was built for. Hundreds of sensors just like this one will constantly monitor stress and movement along this entire span for decades to come. Halfway across, and every section so far has held exactly where the calculations said it would. Moments like this are exactly why nothing here was ever built to stay perfectly rigid in the first place.
When the readings come back clear, and the work simply continues exactly where it left off before the pause.
Section by section, the gap between two continents keeps getting steadily smaller with each passing day. And after all of this, only one final gap remains between two continents waiting to be connected. This is the very last piece of a roadway that until now has always had a gap in it somewhere.
With that, the deck is finally and completely whole, which is one continuous road suspended between two continents.
From right here, it is genuinely strange to realize which continent is behind you and which one is ahead.
Even at sunset, it is genuinely hard to fully take in just how far this bridge actually stretches. Every single inch of this two-continent bridge still passes through very ordinary human hands. Working this high over open water means safety here is never treated as something optional.
On top of an engineering achievement, an entirely ordinary road quietly takes shape as expected.
Even the markings here have to be visible from a vehicle crossing between two continents at full speed. Even crossing between two continents still starts with something as ordinary as a toll booth at the entrance. Begin. For the first time, the entire bridge, including both towers, every cable and every joint gets tested together all at once. Soon this bridge will not just connect two continents by day, since it will glow unmistakably between them every single night. After all of this, which includes high-tension cable, seismic-resistant concrete, and years of careful engineering, it stands complete. Even now, the smallest detail is never rushed, no matter how far along the overall project has already come. One by one, the machines that built the connection between two continents now leave it behind for good. Below the strait looks exactly like it always did, while above it, everything has genuinely changed forever. Even something built to connect two continents still needs the same emergency systems as any other ordinary road. One by one, the machines that built the connection between two continents now leave it behind for good.
At this height, over this much open water, and wind gets watched just as closely as the ground does below.
Even the towers holding everything up get finished with exactly the same care as the deck suspended between them. This small plate marks the exact point where two continents agreed to be connected forever. Even after opening, someone still needs a safe way to walk the entire length of this bridge for inspections. Now, this entire bridge can be watched tower by tower, cable by cable, from a single dedicated control room.
That, before any real driver ever crosses a line of test vehicles, proves the entire deck can handle real weight all at once.
Before it is ever declared finished, and every single joint is checked one final time without exception. For the first time, someone is officially watching this entire crossing from a single, dedicated room. Somewhere beneath the towers, the exact ground that made this whole project so difficult is still being watched every single moment. Every single light has now been checked and confirmed working exactly as designed, from one continent to the other. Every utility here now runs continuously between two continents that used to be separated by open water alone. This is one last walk across something they spent years building through every single joint before it belongs to the drivers who will actually use it. Everything is now ready, except the very first real travelers still yet to cross. Every calculation, every cable, and every seismic joint has now been approved one final time without exception. For For the first time, the entrance opens to the public, exactly as originally intended from the very beginning. This is the very first official crossing beneath one of the most seismically active regions. Most engineers would think twice about building near it all. Somewhere in that exact instant, passengers cross from one continent into another without ever leaving their seats. Just like that, a crossing that used to mean a long ferry ride is now finished in just a matter of minutes.
Most of them will never fully understand how it works, yet all of them will still want to see it for themselves. Within weeks, what once seemed impossible becomes just another part of the daily commute between two continents.
Somewhere inside, the numbers are still being checked every single day without any interruption whatsoever. Months in, and the first real test arrives, and the bridge simply does exactly what it was built to do. Every single reading comes back exactly where the original calculations always said it would land. For the people who actually use it every day, the extraordinary engineering underneath them has already started to feel completely ordinary. Most of them still cannot quite believe that the whole thing connects two entire continents together. Some of the people who built this now drive across it just like anyone else on a road where for years there was only ever water. This is one bridge with two continents and a fault line that so far has not found a single reason to prove them wrong. Every sunrise now reaches both continents within the same few seconds of each other, every single day. This is not just cable and concrete, but rather what happens when two continents decide an earthquake fault should not be the reason they stay apart. Europe sits on one side and Asia sits on the other, and an earthquake still has not managed to change that.
This video is created for education and information purposes using advanced AI tools and human creativity. All concepts, scripting, and storytelling are independently developed to ensure originality. Visuals and animations are generated or enhanced using AI technologies such as VO3, Meta AI, and Grok AI, while final editing and post-production and completed using CapCut and other professional editing tools. No external created content has been copied or reused. Any semblance to real-world environments, factories, or processes is purely coincidental. All scenes shown in this video are digitally created and do not represent real footage. This content is produced with transparency and follows YouTube monetization guidelines.